are we being ruled by politicians who consult with Baphomets and demons?
Yes, we are. The way the world is structured is like a compartmentalized pyramid, and it's pyramids within pyramids, like Russian dolls, one doll inside a bigger doll inside a bigger doll. So you'll have a compartmentalized pyramid that is the British government, for instance, where the people at the bottom don't know what the top is really going towards, what the agenda really is. Just as in, in a bank, you've got a bank, and the people at the bottom of the bank who take the checks over the counter, they don't know what's going on above them, and they don't know what's going on above them. And eventually, in all these pyramids, you have a tiny little number of people at the top that are actually the only people that know how the whole game fits together. Everyone else is just playing their part in ignorance. And so what the Illuminati do is they make sure that only their people, or those that are not a problem to them, will reach those levels of power in which decisions have to be made to push this agenda forward. When people say sometimes, well, you see these people everywhere, you see these one and these one other. No, hold on a second. No, they're at these high positions of power. Therefore, because of this process of filtering them out, if you're not one of us, mate, you ain't going to get sponsored by the right people to get these positions of power. And if you slip through the net, there's going to be a scandal, or there's going to be something we're going to bring up that's going to bring you down, because you're not one of our guys. And so therefore, the ratio of people who are into these dark satanic rituals, etc., to positions of real power in the world are very, very high compared with the general population, where it's nothing like as high, of course. And so the question answers itself, in my experience, when people say, do you think the Prime Minister of Britain's involved? And my reply is he the Prime Minister of Britain? Yeah, well, he's involved, particularly Britain, because the reason, you see, that you cannot put a cigarette paper between the British Prime Minister ever and the President of the United States, whether Democrat or Republican, is because both are answering to exactly the same masters. And Blair and Bush, who are gophers, I mean, the real power you don't see. They're just, they're on public display, they're still at gopher level. They are far more terrified of those in the shadows dictating to them than they are of public reaction to them. Because the most that public reaction can do is kick them out. It's not the most that the people in the shadows can do. I was talking years, indeed, before Blair came to power, that Blair was a chosen one, and that he would be brought through, and one of his tasks would be to take Britain into the euro, among many other things. And this is why Bush and Blair speak from the same song sheet, because the same people are handing out the song sheets. So yes, absolutely is involved, and so are the British royal family in horrendous rituals that go on at places like Balmoral. And if what really goes on comes out, and it will, people like Bush and Blair and the British royal family will have to reincarnate many times to complete the sentence.
Okay, let's do it. 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 Okay, let's do it.
I was an FBI agent for 27.5 years. At the time of my retirement, I was the senior special agent in charge of the FBI Los Angeles Division. I have been qualified in the courts as an expert on cults and satanic ritual abuse. I have information from various sources that judges, law enforcement, prosecutors, attorneys, doctors, and many prominent individuals, including actors, actresses, professional football and baseball players, are involved in these type activities. If you go back 225 or 30 years ago, you have what we call the Illuminati that was established in 1776. And the goals of the Illuminati, this is all very well documented, are to take over the world. One of the best ways of taking over the world is to control people's minds and to take over a country through the control of the minds. So what's happening in America, and based on my research and my interviews with numerous individuals, is that the powers that be, the higher-ups, the people in the Illuminati, are using the satanic cults as a means and as a tool to condition individuals and to make them victims of the mind control, MK Ultra mind control program. There's probably close to 4 million practicing Satanists in the United States alone, based on my intelligence information.
If the many authors on the subject of the occult are correct, and Tony Blэр has been initiated into the 33rd degree, then his pseudo-Christian morals will be compromised by the fact that devil worshippers and high-ranking Freemasons have walked through the corridors of power hand in hand for centuries. The Royal Archmasons describe their highest-ranking brothers as Grand Solicitor Generals of the Supreme Grand Chapter. There is a secret word, the name of the true Masonic God, which none are allowed to say in public. This name is Yarbulon. The Masonic God is not the same God of the Bible, which the Masons call Adonai. Yarbulon has been described by Christian minister Canon Brian Brindley as an unholy compound of the Hebrew name of God, Jehovah, with the heathen names for Baal and Osiris. The highest ranks of Freemasonry utter Yarbulon as the one sacred and mysterious name of God. Yarbulon is a tripantheon Masonic god, in part deified as the historical Baal, which the Oxford English Dictionary confirms as being a Hebrew word. Baal is the chief male deity of the Phoenician and Canaanite nations. To the tribes of the Old Testament, Baal was the devil himself. Albert Pike is America's most celebrated Freemason. Pike was Grand Commander Sovereign Pontiff of Scottish Rite Freemasonry in the southern and western United States from 1859 to 1891. Scottish Rite Freemasonry has its own headquarters at the 33rd degree in Edinburgh. The United Grand Lodge of England has tried to deny that the true god of Masonry is Yarbulon, or has anything to do with the devil. But Albert Pike describes Yarbulon as a symbol of the infinite and eternal Godhead, a mongrel word whose name has been for 2,000 years an appellation of the devil. On the 14th of July, 1889, Albert Pike issued these instructions to 23 Scottish Rite Supreme Councils throughout the world. We worship a God, but it is the God that one adores without superstition. To you, Sovereign Grand Inspectors General, we say this, that you may repeat it to the brethren of the 30th